accomplish from here on out?
For our ball club, I think the biggest thing for me, and obviously our staff, and is to finish strong. I think I think everybody knows where we're at. We lost our three best players, which was unfortunately kind of expected, where we are in the standings right now. But for me, is pardon my French, but to fight our asses off for the last 2 months. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. It's what we've been pretty much asking our players to do from day one, but you know, just to go out and not just prove people wrong, but prove they belong here, prove that they earned a spot, and or try to earn a spot, and I want to see improvement. Listen, we've had these guys for 4 months, some of these guys, and some of these guys we haven't, but I want to see improvement in their game. I want to see better bats. I want to just a competitive brand of baseball, and I want to kind of negate the fear. Let's go out and play fearless. This is something we preach heavily. There's no reason why we shouldn't play that way right now. We have nothing to lose. So that's probably the biggest thing for me, and that's been the message from day one. But even more so now this is behind us. The deadline's behind us. We traded our players. You got a golden opportunity if you're on this team right now, which you may not have if you were on another team. So go out and earn a spot,
So that leads into this and you have had a lot of these guys for 4 months, but you've now got a completely different roster, right? And as you just said, you've lost your three best players. How can you answer questions with what you've got, and how can you answer questions with what you may see over the final 2 months? It seems like they're kind of at odds, right? I go back to the Solak situation in 19.
I'm not quite following the question. I mean, listen. My thing for answering questions is obviously as a group, and the one thing I'm really proud of these guys for is that they've stuck together. I'm talking to these guys today, and I've been around deadlines, after deadlines when we traded our best players. Unfortunately, here, it's I take full blame, full, for being in the situation again. I don't like it. Nobody likes it when you have to trade, especially the quality of the players and the quality of the people that we had to trade. Really hurts. But I think for the rest of the guys, it's like I said, it's an opportunity for these guys, man. How we move forward. I don't expect these guys to be pouting. I expect them to be positive every day, to say, hey, you know what, I got an opportunity to do some things on a major league team to prove that I belong here, and that. It's too good of an opportunity, and so I will refuse to allow these guys to think anything else, and to not be positive every day. To come and we got a chance to win a baseball game against Seattle Mariners today. That's what we're doing today. We got a chance to beat Gilbert, a really good arm. That's our focus today. We're not worrying about who's here, who's not. Your job is to be successful and have competitive at bats, to have competitive innings pitched, and that's not going to change every day, but. The energy in the clubhouse has been pretty good, considering, even through this, and that just it says a lot about the character. And I've said this all along, but we got to be obviously good enough to win baseball games. You got to be talented enough, experienced enough. We're lacking in the experience part. I believe in the talent, but we're lacking in the experience. And regardless of who's on our team right now, we got to go out and compete. But the group has stayed together, which I'm pretty proud of.
Okay, thank you.
Kennedy.
Hey, Chris, just a couple of, I guess, logistical things. How does your outfield, I guess, depth chart kind of play out now? Is Dahl kind of your go-to right fielder, keep Adolis in center, like Eli left kind of thing, or have you thought that through yet?
No, listen. I mean, obviously we have four guys. I think Adolis kind of stands alone as far as the guy who's going to play every day. I got to do a better job giving him days off, maybe. I don't want to see this guy burn out. I want him to have a good 2 months. This guy was an all-star this year. Like I said, he's a little bit above the other three. The other three got to earn it. David Dahl is in no way, and I'm not saying this to make him feel pressure or nervous or anything, but in no way has he earned on our team to be above the other two guys. I mean, honestly, look at Jason Martin. I want to see what this kid can do. He's had a limited sample size here. He's killed it in AAA, which I know it's AAA, but I love this kid's talent, his makeup. So, I mean, you look at Eli, he hasn't earned it. So I think all three guys, have a golden opportunity to kind of grab hold of more playing time, and it's all based on their quality of at bats. Listen, I mean, I thought Jason Martin's at bats the other day were pretty good. He almost hit a homer to left center. He got out, but those are the things I'm talking about. You get good swings on good pitches. Dahl hasn't been as good as I kind of would have liked, so he's got a lot to prove, for the last 2 months. So I think the outfield situation will sort itself out based on how they perform.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, let's go to Joe.
Hey, Chris, you talk a lot about opportunity. Andy Ibanez kind of seems like a guy who's doing that since the All-Star break. What have you kind of seen from him? And I guess how important is it to have a stretch like he's having for, a young guy kind of in the league?
Yeah, it's cool to see because it's, you knew that sometimes either guys come here and they get off to a hot start or they kind of struggle a little bit, like Kurt Terry, hasn't gotten a hit yet. I know that, but you see Andy early on, I felt like it, you could tell he was getting a little bit over anxious at times. Wasn't quite the quality of bats that I was used to seeing. And then he kind of, settled in and, was starting to get some more regular bats. And, when he's good, it doesn't matter who's throwing right, left, power arm, curveball, slider. It doesn't matter. This guy can hit. And he's taking advantage of that. He's taking advantage of the fact that he's getting consistent playing time. And that's why I keep putting him out there. I know I said before that maybe Eli and him would kind of go back and forth at second base, but right now I'm not taking Andy off second base as long as he keeps doing what he's doing. I'll probably move him over to third base just to get a look at it. I want to see how versatile this kid is because the at-bats have been really good. And honestly have been our best at-bats, in my opinion.
Anderson and Cotton both here right now?
What's that?
Are Anderson and Cotton both here right now?
Cotton is, yes, and I believe Drew will be as well. Yeah.
Have you had the chance to maybe meet with Cotton yet? I know he's making his first return to the majors in a while.
Yeah, he was pretty excited. He said he couldn't stop smiling. And the cool thing is this kid's earned it. Like, we loved him in spring training. He's a great makeup guy. Fits right in with what we're all about. But he's earned it. He's performed well. He's done everything we've asked in AAA, and it's nice to reward that because I know this kid. It's been a while since he's been in the big leagues, and to get the call back up, it wasn't handed to him. Like he had to go out and earn it, and he did.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, let's go to John.
Woody, you mentioned how well you thought the guys had handled this situation, but it is new for so many young guys. I think specifically of a Colby Allard, who's had a few bad outings in a row. I don't want you to make excuses for him, but can the unsettled nature of what was happening with this team have affected him? And or now that the dust is settled, can it maybe have a positive effect on him?
Yeah, and you see that a lot with a lot of teams, and some teams that you would assume would get worse because they get rid of some guys. It is a little bit unnerving, I guess. Like it's tough sometimes, and everybody gets affected by it because everybody's kind of reading and hopping on different social media websites trying to figure out who's going where, what's going to happen. Now that now that it's over, a lot of times there is like a calming period after, and so maybe that obviously helps Colby. Maybe he knows, okay, I'm obviously not going anywhere. I'm in the rotation. I've got an opportunity. I'm just going to go out and execute now. But I've been really excited about Colby just because of the growth, on and off the field that we've seen. He's really addressed some things, on the pitching side, his mental side that I feel like he's in a good position to kind of have a really strong, final 2 months, especially in the rotation, which he's earned. He didn't even start in our, really on our team, and then got put on the team the last second and has been pitching out of the bullpen and then got put in that starting role. So it's a cool story that how he's gotten to where he is. But yeah, I'm excited about him.
What's your thought about closer at this point then going forward?
It's a good question. I think it's closer by committee. Maybe put guys in. I want to make sure we're putting, especially these younger guys, in the best position possible, where we feel like that opposing lineup matches up best with them. I wouldn't say soft landings, but just use them effectively, use them strategically, and I think that that's something we've always wanted to do. But also pitch them, I don't want DeMarcus to go, 5 days without pitching. I don't want Barlow to go 5 days without pitching. I think we're going to not necessarily schedule outings, but make sure that they don't go too long. We want these guys to get consistent innings while also not taxing them. So I'd assume there's going to be less back-to-backs and just get a little bit more strategic in how we use them, but also like when we use them. So we're maximizing them.
Thanks, Woody.
Sarah.
Just kind of along those same lines, expectations for Spores and kind of his elevated role now that Gibson and Kennedy are gone.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely have to take on a more leverage role for sure. But I think along those lines with all of our guys, I don't want to just thrust him into any role and say, hey, you're the closer or you're the eighth inning guy. Like, he's got to earn it. I know I've put him in leverage roles during the season. He's had good outings, he's had bad outings, and some in between. But I just want to put him in the best position possible. So I don't think it's necessarily, he's going to take over this role or that role. I just think we're going to use him, in probably leverage roles, but, in that part of the lineup where we feel like he's best suited.
And you mentioned the character. Obviously, we know how great those guys are. Do the younger guys understand what shoes need to be filled with the kinds of character? I know that you guys look for guys that fit the boxes, but do they understand that gravity?
Probably not. And I think I was going to actually hit on this before, if nobody asked me, but I do want to talk about the guys we traded because I think it's important to understand what we're going to be missing, and I think you can't replace any of those three guys. I think it's hard to talk about Joey honestly without me personally getting a little bit emotional about it because what we've kind of the relationship I personally had with him for 3 years. Just the growth on the field, but most importantly off the field. This guy's turned into a spectacular human being. He's a great man. Like, just it's amazing what he's done in the last 3 years and how open and how vulnerable he was, to getting better in every way. And it clearly showed up on the field, and we loved it. And I as a manager will never be able to replace that kind of player. As hard as he played, the desire, the heart that he played with, the care that he had for his teammates, the team, the organization, it hurts. So for our players to understand how you replace that, it's nearly impossible. And I don't expect one person to fill his shoes. They can't. It's impossible. You can't get anybody in the big leagues to fill his shoes. So I just think, guys have to take it upon themselves to elevate their roles and make sure that, like I said, we don't go south as far as just our culture goes. We got to stay strong. But with Gibby and Kennedy, on the pitching side, Kennedy's presence in the bullpen, Joelly's, in the bullpen is going to be tough to replace. You can't because they've been there. Kennedy's been around a long time. The leadership qualities you can't replace. Joelly's, just awesome nature, positive nature you can't replace. But the other guys got to take it upon themselves. Somebody's got to be the guy to step up, not quite fill his shoes, but take on a little bit more of that role. And Gibby, I can't say enough about for the last 2 years. He's been absolutely, what he's done inside the clubhouse has been spectacular. On the field, he's been obviously an all-star this year, but what we dealt with last year with the pandemic and everything. Social, the injustice, I can go on and on about just what Gibby's brought to this team and organization, and they're all going to be missed.
Okay, let's go to last one. We'll go to Evan.
So, like you just gave a very eloquent response on all these guys. And you just lost your club, basically your clubhouse leader in Gibson, your closer, and you don't have an answer closer, and obviously you just talked about Joey. And I don't expect you guys would shut it down and not play the rest of the year, but how difficult is it going to be for these guys to just simply navigate the final few months?
I'm not worried about that. Yeah, listen, I said those things for a reason because I respect the hell out of all four of those guys. Honestly, with Joely included, listen, life goes on. We're gonna have to move on, and I just told you how much I cared about all four of those guys, and it's painful to have to do this. And like I said, I take full blame for that. if we're winning, we don't do this, and that's on me, and I know that. But I think as a group, I mean, like I keep using the word opportunity, but listen, we've been witness to, to Kennedy for 4 months. We've been witness to Joey since he's been here. Gibson for the last 2 years, Joely for the last 2 years. We know what these guys are all about. Let's as players, the thing that I'm going to talk to these players about is like, let's take pieces of what these guys brought and continue that. Let's let their, I hate to say their legacy and get kind of cheesy, but like, let's let that live on. Like somebody's got to take that role. Somebody's got to be the bright spot that Joely was every day, even when we were losing. Somebody's got to take on the role to say, hey, let's have some tough conversations that Gibby did. Somebody's got to play with their hair on fire like Joey did. And somebody's got to have the stones to go out there in the ninth inning and say, screw this, I'm going to end this game right now like Ian did. So listen, I mean, we can take pieces of who they were and add them to who you are. I think that's what culture is all about. That's what playing with these guys should represent. Like, you should take pieces of that and say, hey man, like, I love that about this guy. I'm going to be that for the team for the last 2 months. So there's no doom and gloom. It's more of an opportunity. I'm excited. I hate it today. I mean, it sucked, but it's at the end of the day, it's like we got a group of 26 guys that still have to go out and fight every day, and we got to find a way to do that.
Hey, last thing is housekeeping. So Johnson to Hearn would start tomorrow. You still expect Pulte to start on Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay. Are Patton and Anderson going into the rotation anywhere?
No. Anderson.
Yeah,
Anderson will pitch out of the bullpen probably. He probably would go behind Hearn tomorrow, depending on how Hearn comes out of it or how many pitches Hearn goes. But he'd probably go right after Hearn. But if Hearn goes deep, if he goes 55 pitches and throws 5 innings, then maybe we don't even use Anderson. But we'll see.
So basically, Hearn replaces Gibson, and that's it for right now.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.